In the last video, I created the files that are going to become our web pages in our John Smith website. So in this little video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on the index.html page, which is, as we know, is going to be the home page for the site. So looking at the files that I created previously, I'm going to double click this little icon here next to for index.html. So I'm double clicking that, and that props a blank page. Okay, you'll notice up here in the top left hand side there's some buttons, and if you click on code you can see the HTML code, and click on design view and then you go back to this white screen. There is a split view, but I tend not to use that. I tend to go either between code or design. This live view button is new for CS4, but I'll talk about that some other day. That's not really for just now. So for the moment I'm going to be in design view. That's where I'm going to do my work. Okay, so I could start typing in here and start laying out and start adding some text and some pictures, but that would make a pretty dull web page, and that's not what I want to do. What I want to do is I want a way of laying out the elements on the page so that I can create a nice design. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use a table for layout. Now that's one of two ways I could do it. The other way is to use this thing called CSS, but that's a bit complicated and it's not really for us right at the moment. So I'm going to use this invisible table idea. So I'm going to create this table, and to do that I'm going to go up to the insert at the top here, and I'm going to go table, insert table, and that pops this dialog. Okay, so in this window here I've got a certain way I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it with 4 rows, 1 column, and I'm going to have it 800 pixels wide. I'm going to set the border thickness to 0, and I'm going to set cell padding to 0 and cell spacing to 0. So just to repeat that, that's 4 rows, 1 column, table width 800 pixels, border thickness 0, cell padding 0, cell spacing 0. That's good. That's what I want. So I'm going to press OK. And this thing appears. Now I've not clicked in anywhere yet, and you'll notice that it's got this kind of this black border around it. So here's the table, and with this black border that means it's highlighted, and that means that this properties thing down the bottom comes into play. And one more thing I want to do to the table is I want to align it into the middle. So I'm going to choose align center. That's good. So there's the table. Next move. Okay. So I'm going to click in the third row. My cursor is actually in there. It's kind of difficult to see, but I know it's in there. And with my cursor in that third row, I'm going to go back to insert, and I'm going to go table. And this time I'm going to change it slightly, where I'm going to have 1 row and 1 column, table width 800 pixels, border thickness 0, but this time I'm going to set the cell padding to 30 and leave the cell spacing at 0 and say OK to that. And then in pops this other inner table. If I click my mouse in there, then you can see that it's kind of the cursor's kind of indented a wee bit, and if I click off you can see the shape of the table. So nothing too exciting yet, but that's a good step forward. One last thing to do, you'll notice up here there's a little asterisk next to where the file name is. That means I've got a save to make. So I'm going to go File, and I'm going to go Save. And that's me done. That's it.